bleeding edge. It's a class-based, team-based, objective-based game, kind of like a bite-sized Overwatch, though instead of 6v6, it's 4v4, and there's just a couple of objectives across a handful of maps. They released a couple of betas, which I covered, but now it's for release this past March 24th on Xbox Game Pass, on Xbox One, as well as PC. So there's a little bit more story just because now there is an opening cutscene, a couple of them when you load up the game. They didn't have this back with the first beta, at least when I played. But once again, to reiterate, the story is Damien, who is the samurai character that you're seeing here with the paint can strapped on his arm, from New York. Each of these characters are from different locations and kind of more exaggerated type of, I don't know, half stereotypes or images, that kind of thing. But he gets revenge on a corrupt corporation. That's the backdrop of the world these guys are living in. And it's in the future, 2057. They're all robotically, kind of cybernetically enhanced in various ways, like with their arms, their legs, their body, that kind of a thing. But he gets revenge and then forms this underground group that fights as entertainment, kind of for fun. And I'm guessing since they're robotically, cybernetically enhanced, they can't be mortally wounded. But this one connects with it. It's kind of, again, like with Overwatch. The game modes that you're doing isn't anything related to the story itself. But with this one, they're going with the underground movement rather than the official defensive Overwatch group. Like with other types of hero shooters, the enjoyment that comes out of this one is learning the characters, their unique abilities, nuances, and what the type of gameplay that they're best suited for, and even just doing it in unconventional means, since it is a online game and you're with a group. After you pick a character, you start in a arena behind a closed door, so you can kind of gain a sense of how they play if you are new to playing the character. But just to give you an idea of how it works, here I have Cass, and even though it is separated amongst damage, support, and tank, there are nuances to each of them where they kind of work outside of that. This character, Cass, for instance, is under damage, but hers is more as a skirmisher to attack units. She has a ranged attack, and she also has a melee attack. She doesn't need to go on a board, which all the other characters do, so her mobility is much better. So they kind of have their individual within that class. Here's another one that's also a damage dealer. This is Maeve. You see kind of the stereotype they're kind of going with. She's like an Irish old witch lady. But with her, she has a ranged attack, but she can use her abilities in tandem more than with Cass, where you're using one and then another. She can isolate a guy, attack them, and then also has the stealth ability, whereas other damage dealers don't. There are super abilities, like with other games. With this game, though, you can choose one of two before you respawn. Here is Zero Cool. He's healing me. He's a healer unit. And he has one where he can resurrect a character if they die within like 6 seconds, and then another one where they get a defensive bonus, which is what he is using here. And there's a lot of customization with the abilities in terms of what they use and how you apply it. It's not only team-based. Going back to Cass, who's more the lone wolf, here's one where I can stun a group, which gets me out of combat right away, and then I can also get back in and take out a group and then run away, which I don't do here. But the point is that the characters are the star with this type of a game, and there's a lot in terms of depth that you can do. The two objectives make a return. They haven't added anything more, which is kind of one of my complaints. This is the first one where you are capturing points on a map. One open up, you can see the top middle, it's just all of them are opened up at this point. And then it can be up to 3 areas, so you have to separate your group sometimes to go to one or another. This I found to be the weaker of the two modes compared to Power Cells, because it's just a matter of more so staying with the group, especially when you just have one open. To break it up a little bit so you're not just going to the same point over, especially with the defensive territories one, you have pickups on each of the maps that spawn in the same locations. One is damage dealing, defense, which is one that's a little less rare, and then the healing seems to be more common. So it gives a little bit, it's kind of basic, but it at least gives a little more strategy into each of the maps, kind of remembering the locations. The far better mode, in my opinion, and I think in the developer's opinion, is the Power Cell Collection. How this one works is you have two phases. You have collecting the power cells, and then you have the territories that are activated. So a lot more strategy with this one because you don't have to deposit them. Then there's different points to do it. So you can kind of avoid combat. You can just focus on collecting. But then, most importantly, you can take out other players or ambush them at certain points. So there's a lot of possibility here. Like here's one where I was able to pick up a lot because one character was separated. But they want to separate because then they can go undetected and then deposit them. But I'm able to do this. But we still lose. So this one is a lot better, and I would say like 80% of the time I was playing this mode rather than the defensive one. Each of the modes and how the games play out, though, do make it clear as you do get familiar with each of the characters which one to play next. Each time you die, when you respawn, you can see what characters are available to one and another. And then each of these maps also, too, they have environmental hazards such as bombs dropping, the train that you saw earlier, or like the train that has the cargo on the back that you can do. But there is a lot of depth within each of the characters, even though there is just 11 and it is 4v4. As an example, I told you about the healing one. He focuses more on just healing and staying back, but here's another one that has a better range attack that he can use in combination with wards as well as healing and then shielding himself, which adds another layer to the healing aspects. So there's enough there, no matter which mode that you're playing. There's just more variety with the Power Cell one. Being that learning the character is a big part of the game, you want to spend some time, even if you're not playing the character or maining one, as they say, reviewing the abilities that they have, their supers, and then on the left, their basic abilities. If it's a melee unit, they have combos. Ranged unit, they just constantly attack if you hold the button down. But there's little nuances to like their mobility, switching stances one has, so you gradually familiarize yourself with each of these and then kind of learn the bios. To further enhance it, to customize your play style, the mods also, like from the beta, make a return. You unlock these as you complete matches. These do things like increasing damage, range might be more cooldown, that type of thing. But you have 3 of them that you're able to do. And there's a nice animation where a robot hand comes down and then customizes each of the characters. Finally, apart from the stuff that actually affects in-game, you have emotes and board skins. Fortunately, you can buy these with the currency as you're playing the game, but they don't impact the characters. This is kind of the state of things nowadays. This is more middle of the road. It's not like a big AAA game, but it's not like a lower budget type of indie game. It's there, but it's fortunately not there. And the bios are great with these ones to kind of, if you want to get more story. Given the amount of content and the type of content, being limited to those 2 types of objectives, this is a playthrough Game Pass, definitely. And they know it. That's why it released on beta exclusively through Game Pass, and then the game released on it as well. There's just not too much there in terms of the maps, the hazards, and the 2 objective game modes you can be playing, and then one of them is meh, and the other one is good. And that they also know. That's why the majority of the matches, I think, are on the Power Cell one. Longevity is going to be based on if you like learning about the characters and learning how they interact. And this is well done. I think it is balanced well with how it was released. Well, with the betas, those seem to be successful. So, I mean, if you are interested in that and the type of game it is with the ranged and melee attacks and how the characters interact with each other, then I would just pick it for $30. Otherwise, try it out on Game Pass and from there, decide whether to pick it up or not. Seriously, everybody out there, please stay safe, wash your hands. If you don't have to go out, please stay at home, as it makes it safer for the people that do for work. If you like this video, please give a like, subscribe if you really liked it. Check out the links below if you're picking it up on Game Pass. And I will see you next time.